introduce you to my spfbo10 or spfbox allottication. I am going to be a part of Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy's judging team again this year. I had so much fun last year helping read and pick a semi-finalist in order for her to read and then choose her finalist. And I'm so glad that she asked me to help out again this year. Cassidy has a really fun way of running her team, and I will leave her video down below that introduces the rest of the members of her team, as well as how she will be running the team this year down in the description box below. Very similar to how things worked last year, but you guys should definitely go check that out. Basically, each of us will be getting 10 books. There are 6 of us, so each book will be getting 2 chances to become a semi-finalist. If you guys have no idea what that is, SPFBO is a self-published fantasy competition where 10 blogs or 10 judging teams get together and whittle 300 books down to 10 books to try to find the best self-published fantasy book. This year was run a little bit different, where there was a lottery system. Every book that could possibly want to was able to enter within 24 hours, and then they were randomized to pick those 300 books. I wanted to walk you guys through the 10 books that I am going to be reading for SPFBO10, as well as why I might have chosen those. So when Cassidy gets her 30 books, we kind of rank them in order of, these are the ones that I'm most interested in that I want to read, these are the ones that I am okay with reading, and these are the ones that I don't really think are going to be for me. I do think that it's beneficial for you guys to check out her video because each of us kind of talk about our personal reading taste, what we like in books, what we don't like in books, and I think that's really going to shine through in what our semi-finalists are, and I really love that aspect of things. So for me personally, I love a good epic fantasy, I love a good world, I like a good stabby main character. I'm not a huge fan of a cozy fantasy, a lot of humor. Those are just not really what I gravitate toward, so I tended to lean more on the epics, on the things that I was picking that I wanted to read. I don't know all of these synopses off the top of my head. We may be quickly reading through those, but I just wanted to introduce these books to you guys, get them in front of your face so that you know what to expect from me, as well as get some eyes on these books, because I hope that it's going to be a great year. Most of these books are not really in any particular order of the most book I requested down to the one that I really didn't want. However, this first one is the one that I was the most sought after, the one that I requested the most, and that is Blood of the Stars by Carney Norton. This is, I believe, a young adult fantasy. It is a chunky one at 692 pages, and I really liked the cover. I really liked the sound of this book. This one actually already has a pretty good following, which you don't see a lot of in this competition. So for Blood of the Stars to have 62 ratings and 43 reviews already is excellent. It has a 4.48, which is even better, and I'm really excited to give it a try. This one does sound like my epic fantasy. We have a prince that was tasked with protecting his childhood friend. It's been 14 years since she was lost, and he is doing everything that he can to try to bring her home. But there is a rebel faction in the south, there is a power-hungry priestess in the east, and he is trying to follow one last clue across the seas. And then we also apparently have the, I'm thinking, the point of view of the kidnapped child, and she is desperate to be rid of the chaotic magic that is within her blood. She's actually joined the prince's rebel enemies in order to try to save her mother, but her power only serves to attract the rebel faction's leader's attention. She must learn to control her magic before they reach her mother, or risk becoming the weapon that the rebel leader needs to control the kingdom. I don't know, it just sounds like a lot of fun. I'm really interested in giving it a try, so that was probably one of the most anticipated for me out of our list. The second one that I was really anticipating is The Outer Darkness by M.V. Prindle, and the same author of Bob the Wizard. This one came out on May 2nd, so not overly surprising that it doesn't really have any ratings or reviews so far, but we're gonna change that. This one is about an ancient magical wall of darkness that surrounds the land of light, and within it there is an ancient evil that is stirring. We have sources of light that are beginning to fall, we have demons and a horde of the risen dead that are shambling in from the west. The fallen gods are preparing to invade. Hope that remains in a handful of champions against the darkness. The hungry darkness is approaching. It is a standalone dark fantasy, and we're trying not to let the dark out. I love a good demon, I love a good darkness. Remember I told you I like a little stabby stab and not a whole lot of cozy light in my books, which I don't know what that says about me, but this one sounds like it is right up my alley, and I'm calling it now. I think this one could be a semi-finalist. Next up we have Blood of the Houses Volume 1 by J.A. Garza. This one also only has 1 rating and 1 review. It came out in January, actually the day after my birthday this past year. This one I think is supposed to be like an epic fantasy Star Wars mix. I think I'm getting that right. And it says, a secret is trivial for 1, adequate for 2, and fatal for 3. There is power in blood. From what I can tell from the synopsis, we have a lot of warring houses that are fighting against each other to control the kingdom, and they're all trying to figure out how to defend the world from global annihilation, but it sounds like they're all battling against each other in the process. I think this one will be interesting. It does kind of scare me a little bit. It is 936 pages, so I picked the 2 really chunky ones. I don't know what I was thinking, but I think that this one could either be really, really, really good, or I could struggle a little bit with some of the more intricate part of the world building if it's not fleshed out enough. So fingers crossed, but I'm very, very hopeful because it sounds like the kind of epic fantasy that I could really enjoy. Next up, we have complete opposite end of the spectrum. I mean, like complete opposite end. The Goddess Found by Calanthe Colt. I think this one is like a Bachelorette inspired fantasy. It's about the god incarnate who is forced into a public role he didn't seek. The mere mortal who wants a quiet life, the very public and popular reality show that will complicate their lives. I don't know. It just sounded like it could be a lot of fun. This one has 17 ratings and 15 reviews with a 4.18, so it does have a few eyes on it. It came out in May of last year, and it just sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's not my epic fantasy, but that's okay. Sometimes I do just want something that's fun, a little bit more of an urban fantasy romance kind of thing, so I'm looking forward to that being a really good palate cleanser for me. Then we have the Oathsworn Legacy by K.R. Gangi. I may be completely butchering that name. This one has 7 ratings and 3 reviews with a 5-star. It came out on October 30th of last year and is 642 pages. I can't tell if this one is a standalone or not, but it also sounds like an epic fantasy. We've got 2 people that are trying to make a living the only way that they know how, by protecting the people of the realm by slaying the dark things that stole their childhood, monsters and everything evil. They have work that never ends, but they have plenty of coin to go around, and they discover that there is a sinister secret that is deep within the crevices of Centrum's past. Dwarves are in the west, Rotman in the north, elves in the east, and a tyrant king ruling with an oppressive fist. They're trying to look in the balance of total chaos. Will everything that they've accomplished be enough to save them from the shadows rising, or will a plot that's generations old finally drag everything into the abyss? This definitely sounds like a traditional epic fantasy, but sometimes those can be a lot of fun. I think it will be more of an adventure type story, and I'm looking forward to it. Next up, we have Burden to Bear by Gregory Amato. This is a Norse-inspired Viking fantasy, which I do not read a lot of, but I'm very excited to try. This one has 19 ratings and 12 reviews with a 4.89. It actually doesn't tell me when it came out, but it is 436 pages. It says, telling Norse myths is a lot easier than living them. I think this has a style of like storytelling by word, which does fit the Norse mythology type very well, but I'm interested to see if that will work for me in the type of storytelling, because I have read books that are kind of like that in the past that didn't work for me, but I was intrigued in the writing style and kind of the way that that storytelling is done, so I'm hopeful that it could end up working for me. We have Ansgar, who is not your typical Viking. He tells stories of gods and heroes for a living. When a Viking crew sets off to do something insane, they want a chronicler who can spin the crazy into something heroic. He doesn't want some troll to rip off his arms, but this is going to be a great story if he survives. So it could lean a little comedic, maybe, but I'm also hoping that it will be a lot of fun, so we're going to see if this one ends up working for me. Next up, we have Magic on the Cards by Marina Finlayson, I think is how you say that. This one just sounds like it's going to be a fun paranormal romance. Back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, paranormal romance was my jam. I read so much of it, really enjoyed it. I have the entire J.R. Ward series still hanging out down here. I still really enjoy a good paranormal romance from time to time. It's just kind of lost its way a little on BookTube, so I don't read quite as much of it as I did before in favor of more of the fantasy romance, but I still enjoy it, so I'm excited to give this one a try. This one actually has 300 ratings and 34 reviews, so one of the more popular ones on my list, and it is a 4.21. It came out in April of 2023, and it is 386 pages. We say, never trust a werewolf and never speak to to a werewolf. Never under any circumstances fall in love with a werewolf. I know there's something about tarot card magic in here, which sounds like it could be a lot of fun and really interesting. And I don't know, just the cover of this, it just gives me classic paranormal romance vibes, and I'm here to give it a try. Then we have A Contract in Sulphorn. This one has 38 ratings and 19 reviews with a 4.26 star rating. It came out in February of last year, and it is 443 pages. It says it is a standalone fantasy adventure, so I'm assuming this is like a series of standalones, so hopefully that will work really well. It is about a djinn, a boy, and a terrible contract, and they said I wouldn't have asked for that if I knew that I could ask for anything. We have an ancient djinn who is on a quest to seek the artifact that enslaved her, and we also have a Doravan who is a disaffected youth from a dissolved noble house. Their initial connection is a curacy, and their bond becomes one that may endanger the entire cycle of nature. That sounds very dramatic, but I'm curious to find out. Next up, we have Rematch the Titans by Samuel Gatley. This one is one that the cover immediately made me go, oh, I'm not sure about that. It is a very anime type cover, and I don't typically read or watch a lot of like manga or anime. However, when you kind of dig a little bit deeper into the story, it sounds like it could be interesting. Cassidy said it was giving her combat codes vibes, and I really liked combat codes, so I'm like, could this be good? It has 11 ratings and 8 reviews. It is 231 pages and came out on November 2nd of 2023. This is a world where the Titan is worth only his latest victory in the ring, and we have Scott, who is the envy of everyone. He is dominant, fearless, remarkably good looking, at least according to himself, and his self-proclaimed perfection will be challenged when he is dragged off into the far corner of the open nations. He will battle a new host of dangers and learn that being flawless may not be enough to survive. It could be fun. It could be a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that it will just be a fast-paced, good adventure. Last but not least, we have Dreadchild by J.L. Dottie. This is another one that the cover, I was kind of like, I'm not sure about it. When you read the synopsis, it could be really interesting. This one has 2 ratings and 2 reviews with a 4.5 star. It came out on March 1st of 2024 and is 298 pages. It says, is a birthmark on a young boy's arm just a smear of discolored skin or the nexus to an ancient curse? Ket is the half-breed son of a bondservant and an unknown duchy's man. To him, the birthmark on his arm is just a smear of discolored skin, but the wizard sees in it the dread mark, a potent of both evil and greatness. When his mother is murdered and he is kidnapped by an assassin, he must survive the enemies around him, but can he survive the curse of the dread mark? So those are the 10 books that I will be reading for SPFBO10. I am very excited to start these here very soon. I'm aiming to get my semi-finalist out by the end of July, so keep your eyes out for the reading vlog where I will be going through all of these, giving you guys all of my thoughts and announcing my semi-finalist. Once again, I highly encourage you guys to check out Cassidy's announcement video where she goes through everyone that is going to be on her team and how she is running everything this year. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me a star emoji. As always, links to my Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads are all down in the description box below. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!